Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to SharpEdgeNews.com, SharpEdge News TV. It's all in the same as family. Welcome back, welcome back. Without any further ado, just go ahead and do it right now. Let's bring everybody else into the room by simply hitting like, share, subscribe, and follow everywhere so you can get notified whenever we go live. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to welcome a man of two powerful roles: publisher and editor-in-chief of SharpEdgeNews.com, and the other side of him is he's also a high chief of Aidi Ogbese. Yes, you heard that right. Whether in the newsroom or in the kingdom, is always a sharp edge ahead. Welcome, the legend, Mr. Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you so much, Ola. My gratitude, sincere gratitude indeed, that you are able to bring me back every week. So it's good to be back with you tonight. And to our viewers all over the world, it's good to be back with all of you. Thanks for having us.
Welcome back, sir. Welcome back, sir. All right, so I know you have specials for us today from SharpEdgeNews.com. Maybe we can jump right into that.
Yes, thank you. We start on the note of encouraging each and every one of us. I talked about the time and the season in which we all live, and that when things appear to have gone overboard with leaders, particularly of the political ilk, all over the world, everywhere, wherever, anywhere, the first law in nature that anybody should embrace is that of self-preservation. I hope we're understanding each other concerning that. Self-preservation. And what do we do there? While these leaders who are supposed to be the people who provide all kinds of leadership, all kinds of vision, all kinds of new paths to follow for the citizenry, if they are checking in such duties and responsibilities, what you do is that as they are losing their heads, you keep yours. Why am I saying this? Let nobody be disillusioned, or no let anybody, no one should be be deluded that, oh, it is better in America than in Nigeria, than in Afghanistan, than in South Africa, Australia, wherever. In the final analysis, all of us are human beings. We just have the exceptional grace and opportunity of being able to find ourselves in different climes at different times or at the same time. Why am I saying this? The unfolding situation in the United States of America, against which we were all forewarned, is so scary at the moment, such that the killing of a youth, 31-year-old right-wing cultural activist, sad as that may seem, is beginning to also encourage some leaders to want to fire up their rhetorics instead of toning it down and realizing that a precious life for that matter, was lost. Which is why I'm saying, and I'm encouraging all of us, when these leaders are not capable of being temperate in what they say, in the kind of speeches they give, and the way they blow the dog whistle, encouraging people to just go crazy and launch out at each other. We must do better than them to understand that whatever is afflicting this world, whatever is dogging this world, is really more than a matter of ideology or philosophy. It is just the essence of humans to go overboard, to go crazy, at least for a moment every day, if not for some season. And I am not going to be too explicit again, like I've always said. But if we find enemies without, understand that there could also be enemies within. People are willing to take advantage of each other, make it look as if their point of view is superior to that of others. Instead of having conversation, people just want to impose their own views. And people would not even know how to set limits as to not to do things that would blatantly show that somebody is being abusive, whether in business, whether in politics, whether in interpersonal relationship, such as marriage or friendship. People do things to each other that sometimes they mean, sometimes they do not mean. People would gaslight each other thinking that the party is involved, that either of the parties involved is at fault. But it is in the nature of human beings to just want to do things that would really make the other party feel subdued. And when it is not working that way, somebody would find someone to blame. Like I've said, I'm not going to be too explicit tonight, but this is note of caution. Whether you live in Nigeria, whether you live in America, United Kingdom, anywhere in the world, let us embrace our humanity. Let us learn to be not just polite, but also have respect for the dignity of the human person. Let us respect one another. Let us understand that in nature, all of us cannot be equally endowed. And tonight, I call on us all over the world. I call on all of us, please. Let us understand that nature itself expects that we should have advanced than we are at the moment. Any little provocation, any little scratch above the surface, you just want to find out that we haven't really made much progress since the time of creation or evolution. Depends on whatever you believe, but I am a creationist. I believe I was created by God for a purpose, and that purpose is expressly stated in His will for me to live my own will on earth here, not deliberately launching out to kill anybody, defame anybody, make anybody feel as if they are less human. Just let us celebrate our persons instead of just looking at somebody as being subhuman or less than we are. I just want this monologue, this introduction, to just make this an introductory monologue. I do not want to go into details of too many things. This is not just mere innuendo. Yes, pregnated as the presentation may be, is only for those that are wise. Only the deep can call out to the deep, like the Bible puts it. In the journey of life, we will offend each other, but understand that ultimately we just aspire to be a better person. That said, Ola, I yield this week. Thank you for having me back.
Welcome back. Thank you, sir. All right. So we have, as usual, of course, we don't let you down. I want to do a quick shout out. I think it's my guy, Adura Ade Buyi, good to see you, my guy. Good to see you.
Adura Adegboye.
Adura Adegboyi, if it's who I think it is, it's a childhood friend. But he's hanging out with us in the chat. Ó sọ pé mo kí gbogbo ilé. Good to see you, sir. All right.
Everybody in the house is saying hello. Thank you for being part of the show tonight. Adura.
All right, great. Without any further ado, excuse me, without any further ado, we're just going to jump right into the trendy stories around the world. We will be right back. All right, welcome back. So, in a story that's been trending for like a week or so, I just wanted to get your take on it. Nigeria clears $3.4 billion IMF loan, exit from debt list. All right, so it's actually listed. I'm not sure if I can open this story. Let me see if I can open it. I hope so. But it was a story actually written by Ruth Olurombi, but actually was also trending on Reddit. It says, big news, Nigeria has officially cleared its $3.4 billion debt to the International Monetary Fund, IMF. This loan was taken in 2020 under the rapid financing instrument to cushion the economic blow from the COVID-19 pandemic. In the IMF's latest report, May 2025, Nigeria no longer appears on the list of 91 countries with outstanding credit. The Tinubu administration is celebrating this as proof of responsible economy leadership and improved financial strategy. That said, it's not a full slate. Nigeria still owes the IMF service charges and interest, projected at around $29 million per year, based on current exchange rates from SDR until 2029. All right, so I'm looking at some other comments here. Say, might look significant to an average Nigerian, but this is a move in the right direction. Oh, sorry, might look insignificant to an average Nigerian, but this is a move in the right direction. Somebody said this is a milestone, definitely a step in the right direction. No more being in debt to them or their puppet masters. Somebody said, what about the World Bank and others? Somebody said, before you come after me, this was the response I got. Nigeria has fully repaid the principal of its $3.4 billion. All right. Another person said, with the final payment made April 30, 2025, however, interest and charges remain, totaling approximately $30 million in 2025. Then they said, with the following key creditors, Nigeria's external debt stood at $42.12 billion as of September 2024, with the key creditors, World Bank Group $17 billion, African Development Bank Group $3 billion, Exim Bank of China $5 billion, Agence Française de Développement France $641 million, and a plethora of a few other ones. Anyway, somebody said, congrats Nigeria from Pakistan. So I wanted to get your take on this in terms of, is this good news as far as you can hear? Or Abi, you just
Well,
so but yeah. Okay, Adura said yes, it's my pleasure. Ola, all the way from I guess he meant Okearo. Yes, of course. That's my guy.
Yes. Yep. Way back the Okearo, yes. Anyway, let's come back. Okearo Akure, yes. Not Okearo in Lagos. Yeah.
Okearo AK City. That's exactly what he said. He said Okearo AK City.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because there is Okearo around the Giwa bus stop in Lagos.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Jewish guy.
Chief, why we bringing another Okearo into this conversation?
But yeah, let's stick to the topic.
All right, sir. Yes.
Why I was a bit reticent. Yes, I love Nigeria to do well, and I pray that Nigeria will do well. It's my hope. It's my vision that Nigeria must do well, because ultimately, the way people threaten and deport immigrants, whether legal or illegal, under all kinds of pretexts. Uh, and this is where at times they threaten to denaturalize people. And even when somebody sometimes is born in the United, because what is really involved is not the consideration of getting rid of criminally minded individuals, but ultimately the card, the race card is what is usually involved in some of these policies, not just in the United States, but in most places against countries and the persons of African origin. Why am I saying this? I want Nigeria to do well because you really do not know. If we don't say Nigeria, if we say Nigeria should not do well, if all these people, loony as they are increasingly turning every day, we must have a place that we can always call back, fall back on. A place we can always go back to, a place that we would always see as our homeland. So Nigeria must do well. However, it is difficult to really believe some of these things, some of these figures and data that are often, I do not know if they are generated to mislead or to actually state the true position of things. For example, you have given the other debt profile, apart from the one of the IMF that you said had been paid off. And I love to relate things to macroeconomic reality and the political economy of it all. Earlier today in Nigeria, the former vice president of the country, Atiku Abubakar, drew attention to the fact of the possibility of a violent revolution if care is not taken about the plight of the people of Nigeria. Yes, debts have been paid, but the question, or if this debt has been paid allegedly, the question must be asked: when the loan was taken for the purposes of cushioning the effect of COVID-19, I was in Nigeria during the COVID-19 tragedy, so to say, that pandemic. I was in Nigeria. There was little effect of government intervention in spite of this humongous amount of money that was said to have been taken. It is not just about palliatives or subsidy against the biting effect of COVID pandemic. How about other debts that were incurred in order to provide infrastructures, this and that, whatever they said they were acquiring the facility for. What is on ground in Nigeria does not match that country's debt portfolio. The two are not commensurate at all. So, ruling elites in Nigeria will take loans for stated purposes in whatever proposals they pushed before the international financial agencies, whether World Bank, IMF, or International Finance Corporation, maybe ADB, all kinds of banks and lenders. At the end of the day, there is nothing to show for it. I remember years back, there was this opportunity of interacting with Paul Harris fellow from the Rotary Club. They were visiting Nigeria, I think around 1999, and I was able to interact with some of them that were journalists from Brazil. And I said, Brazil's debt profile was huge. How did Brazil plan to take care of it, offset that hit debt? And they told me, well, so long Brazil was spending that money to take care of a business, not just for the citizens, but for the country, they were fine. What would be criminal would be for Brazil to take loans and there wouldn't be a concomitant effect or impact on the system. I dare say that in Nigeria, do we have such a situation that we can say that our debt ratio vis-a-vis the inflation situation in the country, are they really at par? Certainly not. So when they celebrate the payment, yes, we want Nigeria to do better. But there must be sincerity, there must be transparency. Sometime last week, I was reaching out to one of the presidential spokespersons in Nigeria. Somebody, although relatively would be seen as a senior colleague to me in journalism, but we were contemporaries in Abuja there. And I believe we all still practice this trade, this profession. But trying to just have an interaction, trying to just have a conversation, the posture was really antagonistic and adversarial. It was almost like, so how do you approach such people to give you transparent and honest account on some of the things they push out to the public? This story that we are reviewing, Ola, in truth, has been on for almost 3 weeks or a month now. Remember when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was interacting?
Yeah. It's been on since May, but it just trended again. That's why.
Yes, he was. Yeah, what I will tell you, what brought it. What brought it up again? You see,
Okay.
he was interacting with a group of Nigerians in Abuja, and he was bragging about how Nigeria had paid off all, had met its target by the month of August in terms of paying, realizing his, what's it called? Its target concerning revenue, and that Nigeria was not owing anybody anymore other than, not owing maybe domestic banks and all that. And then there had to be further clarifications similar to the one where he said in Brazil that corruption was gone, which led to the tweet from Omoyele Sowore that, quote and unquote, that kind of claim was criminal, or maybe calling the president a criminal for saying that kind of a thing. And now it's become a reason for some people calling out Sowore and some people with some idiotic mind saying that they should be given the opportunity to take care of Sowore. I mean, a blatant threat, so to say, that the government should allow them to visit jungle justice on Omoyele Sowore. And I think everybody should take note of such threats. Just because you want to have an honest conversation over issues of public interest in your homeland, in your land of birth. So if it's getting to that point that we cannot honestly hold each other to account, oh, Mr. President, tell us the details, the breakdown of all, of all these debts that you claim to have paid. If it's getting to that, honestly, one would have to just be a little bit cynical in accepting some of the claims often made by the government of Nigeria. Because sometimes, even when they are sincere, the antecedents in having to use some elements of mendacity and deceit really would want to, call for some hesitation on the part of us Nigerians, whether Nigerians at home or Nigerians in the diaspora, on how much of what the government serves, how much of what the government dishes out in terms of information can be trusted. However, like I said initially, I wish Nigeria well. I pray that we would get to that point where we would be able to pay everything off. But understand that whatever is really undercutting that system, whatever it's mitigating against the optimal performance of the Nigerian system, is really within that system. It's within that system. Part of it will be leadership. Part of it will be corrupt civil servants. Part of it would even be insincere reportage on part of some journalists in the system there. Because protocol journalism is killing the measure of transparency and accountability that the public ought to get from the elected leaders of the country. But this is a story I love us to revisit. This is one development I love us to pay more attention to, because in the course of time, we will still talk about certain developments in Nigeria that would give or seem to really give what's it called, a credence to the fact that we ought to be a bit cynical about some of these claims. Because right now, as we're speaking, there are places in Nigeria where resident doctors are not at work. There are places in Nigeria where teachers are down in tools. There are places in Nigeria where a private investor is saying, oh, let me stand by the country. Let me get the entire place flooded with petroleum products. And some people defending some interests or whatever, because that's always the case in Nigeria. Some people are saying this is the way to go. Some people are saying, no, let us drag the country down until we are able to come to that point of convergence and understand that we all must work for the upliftment of the country. And the government being sincere, I think the journey to our prosperity and stability in that country is going to be tough,
all right,
if not impossible. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, join the conversation in the chat, please. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Let's move on to some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Keyamo's warning Nigerians on hate speech after Charlie Kirk murder. So I'm going to read this a small report here on Punch Nigeria. Apparently, Mr. Keyamo, former Minister of Aviation and Aerospace, I think he's still former Minister of Aviation.
He's still the minister.
He's still the minister, okay. Serving Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo on Saturday warned that reckless statements and online attacks in Nigerian political space could trigger violence. His caution came on the heels of the murder of American conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, who was shot dead in Arizona. Who was shot dead in Utah on Thursday outside a public event. The 31-year-old Kirk founded the right-wing organization Turning Point USA, and his killing has sparked debate in the United States about rising political extremism and threats against public figures. Keyamo, in a post on his X handle, said the killing should serve as a sober lesson as it underscored the dangers of toxic political exchanges, and I quote, the condemnable murder of Charlie Kirk in America holds a significance for us in Nigeria. The things we say and post in our intellectual contestations over political issues in our country can unwittingly rile other ups to take extreme actions. Let us therefore eschew threats of violence, bigotry, and hate speeches in these exchanges because anyone can end up as a victim, he said. Keyamo further stressed that resorting to insult, threats, and intimidation in political debate was not a sign of strength, but of weakness. It is extreme cowardice to threaten, abuse, or humiliate others who do not agree with your political views or do not worship your political demigods. A resort to abuse or threats or even personal attacks is a sign that you have lost the intellectual contestations. You cannot force others in a free democracy to accept your point of view through threats of violence and intimidation, the minister said. He clarified that his message was not targeted at a particular party or group, but a general call across Nigeria political divides. Keyamo said Nigeria must learn for such incidents and avoid creating an atmosphere where heated rhetoric could lead to tragedy. And I'm looking at some other. I want to read a couple of comments to you, and then I'll let you go with your commentary, sir. Somebody asked, "Was Charlie given hate speech, sir?" Asking Keyamo. Somebody said, "You are indirectly blaming the victim. No one should be killed for an opinion different from yours." All right.
I did not. Keyamo has blamed them.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing. So somebody says something happened for USA. You did caution us for here. You did think.
Yes.
So I said, let me tell us about Nepal. Somebody says, seriously, I'm embarrassed going through some people's comments. Goodness, majority of you all didn't even know who this guy was. Hadn't listened to any of his podcasts or rallies, and so don't even understand what this is about. And someone took it upon himself to advise on the need to debate our political views respectfully without violence and see what my fellow Nigerian youths are saying. Omashio. Another one says Charlie stood for what was and still right. Using him as a reference point here is cowardice. Somebody said, just see what SAN, San, Con, Olodo. All right.
Well, David,
go ahead, sir.
Right. Let's take it from there. Number one, regrettable as it may be, let's commiserate with all Americans at this moment concerning the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And then he was taken down while addressing a 3,000 or estimated 3,000 capacity gathering at Utah Valley University, UVU, in the state of Utah. And I mean, fortunately, that is where you are presently, Ola. And I think the crime scene itself is just about 45 minutes away from your base right there. So everybody in America is taken aback at this moment because it's almost like the years of the locust in the United States, when all the good things about America was going to be eroded by all kinds of tension, whether racial, whether the tension about the war in Vietnam in the late 60s, and the civil rights movement of that dispensation. It's almost like things have become so worse. However, I must thank Minister Festus Keyamo for that piece of advice to Nigerians. If we must put it in proper perspective, he has not said that Charlie Kirk was, saying things that really. What did he call that will go for hate speech? However, that is an argument that some people would readily embrace. That there were some comments by the late Kirk that may not really be too comforting to all political sides in the American project, because
not just Kirk, sir, even the people that opposed him. So this was just him stating the obvious.
So I think what he's trying to say is similar to what the literary sage in Nigeria, Professor Wole Soyinka, used to caution about intemperate language and holding back from heating up the polity. There is nothing that Festus Keyamo has said that is far from there. However, while we embrace the message, sometimes too, and as we try to say that the messenger may not even be at fault, sometimes the Festus Keyamo himself has been caught in this kind of entanglement and web of eight commentaries in the past. For example, at the peak of the 2023 presidential election in Nigeria, you remember Festus Keyamo threatening, well, it's now going to be propaganda for propaganda and all kinds of stuff that
aura for aura.
Yes. So, and then maybe lie for lie and all those things. But that is Festus Keyamo for you. Everybody has a moment of epiphany. Yes, after all, if Saul, who later became Saul of Tarsus, who later became Apostle Paul, could have a dramatic encounter on the way to Damascus, and later became somebody who had been killing people for bearing witness to the way, and Jesus Christ now became the greatest champion for propagation of the gospel. Anything can happen. So I congratulate Festus Keyamo for being for having this kind of encounter. It may be spiritual, it may be otherwise, whatever is responsible for whatever stance he has taken. We congratulate him. However, how did America get to where it is? And everybody, even this morning, you have heard that Vice President J.D. Vance has been threatening to launch after what he called the nest, or all the people, almost, turning into a theory of some domestic terrorist wing that are of the left leaning in the America that must be scuttled, that must be taken down, and all that. Meanwhile, in this same country, we know that up to
so he's threatening crackdown on liberal groups.
This is just it.
It's the same problem.
It's almost becoming an excuse for really unleashing what you would call extreme government crackdown on all kinds of dissent. So about 75 to 80 million Democrats in America may also be facing some risk now. So it's almost like using the unfortunate death. In the first place, we are not realizing that this young man who got caught down in cold blood at the age of 31 had not even fulfilled his manifest destiny optimally, yet it's gone that way. We mourn him. We are saddened about what has happened. But people who also really, because if somebody is talking of hate speech, look at the take of before now, every American president, whenever there is this kind of tragedy, I mean, whenever there was this kind of tragedy, every past American president would try to use it as a point, as a rallying point of bringing every American together, so that we could really envision a better situation, a better pathway for the country. In the case of Donald Trump, what has he done? He's been talking of righteous, evil, left-wing this and left-wing that. And really, if you live in this America, all these people who got caught between red and blue, between right and left, they are not far apart from each other. I do not know of any real dyed-in-the-wool American socialist or dyed-in-the-wool. Virtually every American, whether Democrat or Republican, are capitalists. But when it comes to ramming it down the throat of a majority of us who do not really have that awareness or that education, that kind of enlightenment, what do we get? People get called all kinds, get labeled and they're called all kinds of names. So the people who really took us where we are now, this avoidable killing of the young men, they have not stopped at it. They haven't stopped at it. And you look at the list until this one that has targeted Charlie Kirk. How about those, Democrats? Are you talking of the attempt on the life of Nancy Pelosi, the former speaker? The breaking of the skull of her husband in an attempt to kill him, or the bombing of what's it called? The mansion of the governor of Pennsylvania, Democrat. The killing of Democrats, members of the assembly in the state of Minnesota recently. Mm-hmm. All sides, either Republican or whatever. But let me say this. I think Republicans now have their moment of producing somebody they love to beatified and ultimately proclaim a saint in the hick of Martin Luther. The Democrats or what have you, the liberals in this country had Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.
Not to cut you short, I want to read some things to you because of our Nigerian audience. I want to read some things to you. This is not to. It's just to add some humanity into the overall political conversations. It's just a cautionary tale. That's what we're trying to say. I want to read, first of all, before I read some of the quotes from Charlie Kirk to you, I want to read one last comment from a Nigerian to you, right? Somebody said, but the thing you guys do with public fund cannot unwittingly rile us up to take extreme action, manipulate us. That person is saying that to Keyamo. But you've also highlighted that Keyamo is not innocent himself, but I guess it's still a good message, right? But here's for Nigerians, okay? I nobody's trying to rile anybody up now. The point here is that this is a cautionary tale that everybody should tread lightly or carefully when we're talking about politics. On race, and I quote, "If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified." This was something that Charlie Kirk said on the January 23rd, 2024. He also said, if you're a WNBA, pot-smoking, black lesbian, do you get treated better than a United States Marine? These are some of the quotes from him. Another one said, happening all the time in urban America, prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. It's happening more and more. Another one says, if I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who is a moronic black woman, I wonder if she's there because of her excellence or if she's there because of affirmative action. Does he deserve what happened? No, not by any stretch.
Does not deserve it. However, for all these insidious things and incendiary statements credited to him, may God forgive him.
Exactly.
Probably he didn't know better, and I hope he understands that there is no mistake in whatever God really created. So I don't think there's any That I
So
don't.
I just wanted to put that out there for our Nigerian people who, because he wrapped everything I just said, sir. So sorry. Everything I just said, he found. He was a very good debater. He was a very good speaker. He found a way to wrap them up in Christ, and I think that's where a lot of Nigerians are stuck. You know.
And really, Nigerians ought to be very careful because this Jesus Christ mercantilism, the way people the way people have turned Jesus Christ to what Jesus was not. Just read Jesus Christ in his own words. Learn to amplify those words and live by them. And then you will understand that Jesus had no place for hate. He had no place for bigotry. He had no place for violent killing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a good way to wrap that up. Thank you. All right, we have some other trendy stories around the world. Shout out to Natu in the chat. I'll be right back.
Hello, Natu.
All right, welcome back. 2027. Speaking of riling up, more and more conversation is riling up about 2027 election. Segun Sowunmi says only APC versus PDP. From what I can see right now, I'm like maybe you will enlighten me today. I feel like the word that comes to mind is delulu, because I didn't know PDP is still in the conversation. But what do I know? Let me read this from Nigerian Eye.
What is the meaning of the word delulu?
Delusional.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
let me
Bring. You need to mainstream that street lingo. You need to bring it up to what we all understand. But it's okay.
All right. So I'm going to read this article from NigerianEye.com. Okay. It says Segun Sowunmi, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), says the 2027 presidential election will still be a two-horse race between the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) and his party. Speaking on Monday during an interview on Sunrise Daily, a channel's television program, Sowunmi said the African Democratic Congress (ADC) lacks the structure and influence to mount a serious challenge. Okay. And I quote, the 2027 presidential election will still be a contest between the APC, the ruling party, and the PDP, he said. You see the coalition they're running around with called the ADC, they are entitled to their off and puff. But if you look at the recent off-season elections, they haven't achieved much. The PDP chieftain said the party still have a strong grassroots base, despite defections by some influential members. We can see one or two or three personalities created by PDP who now think they can do it alone, he said. I expect the real challenge of the ADC will be how to even pick a candidate among excessively ambitious people who see everything as either themselves their way or the highway. Sowunmi said that aside from the APC or PDP, other parties lack staying power or internal democracy. At least with us, you hear debate about the NEC, the EXCO, arguments and all that, he said. You compare us with groups that just sit down and take instructions from one or two people, or with a portmanteau political party where the financier is also the presidential candidate. Jeez, a lot of shots were fired though. Sowunmi also described the opposition party as the University of Democratic Participation in Nigeria. Never ever rule out PDP, Sowunmi said. How can you dismiss a party that has existed since 1998? Never changed its name, never changed its logo. Everybody knows its slogan, and it's still going strong. If you give us votes again, we will give you abundant life, as we have always done. If you choose otherwise, you will live with the consequences of your decision. Sowunmi said the PDP has survived repeated crises because it is resilient and adaptable. The PDP is a party that has not 9 lives but 18 lives. The same people who once created challenges for PDP under Jonathan are the ones now creating problems for APC. He had it. He has some very, very good points, sir. What do you have to say about this?
Well, not so fast, Ola. You must understand the place and position of Mr. Segun Sowunmi lately. He's been very active within the PDP fold, but he's been sending certain unclear, confusing signals lately about where he stands. Because at some point he came on television, on live television, to say that he may want to work for the ambition, the 2027 ambition of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu or Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He said that. I'm even surprised.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm even surprised. I'm even surprised that he was talking on behalf of PDP on Sunrise Daily. I'm surprised that because the last time he was grilled by Segun Sowunmi on Politics Today. I mean, you give it to him, Mercurial, very articulate and highly cerebral. However, I suspect that he is being used now, or is already beginning to work as a strategist for the Nigerian presidency, for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to demarcate
ADC.
Yes, that is my suspicion. You know, we all are experienced when it comes to this business of political political strategy. Somebody may be dressing it and put. So since when did some people gather together as what's it called, portmanteau Democrat or portmanteau politician? I mean, this guy was so close up to recent times too. He was so close to Atiku Abubakar. I find so many things so funny. What are you talking of? What's the name of this guy? The one that is always writing stuff on X or Facebook. The former head to President Goodluck Jonathan. Or you're talking of so many of them that used to be so close to Abubakar Atiku. They don't find it difficult to take a flip and then begin to romance and then answer or or pipe whatever the ruling party wants them to say in Nigeria. You know, all these guys are there like that, and then when they come, they sound like they are really marketing something so logical and popular with the people, and you know, because these guys are so crafty in their own in their own peculiar way. So Segun Sowunmi saying all those things that he has been reported to have said about ADC and then the battle between PDP. Well, at the time, he was himself in agony as to the failure, what's it called? The lack of coherence between PDP elements. He, at the time, was frustrated by the conduct of Wike. Now, from all that he has said, is Wike the headache of the party gone? Any other person that is... all these entrenched interests are still there, destabilizing the entire polity. Nigeria, it's beyond the lack of internal democracy within PDP itself. So everybody used to want to feel for PDP, but from what we know, it's almost like we are back in the era of Sani Abacha when Sibola Ige spoke of the leprous finger, the 5 fingers of a leprous hand. Yes, how all those parties were coming together, coalescing to adopt late Sani Abacha as a sole presidential candidate in Nigeria. Something unprecedented. And whatever is going on now is almost like a script from Sani Abacha. Everybody hated Abacha for being a plutocrat, for being a tyrant, for being a dictator. But they are copying his political craftsmanship to want to come together, everybody, even traditional rulers who ought to be quiet in view of it. You find them saying they are endorsing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the sole presidential candidate. And you will see that people like Segun Sowunmi, you go mark that down, will work hand in hand with people like Wike to proclaim. Forget about the drama that is being staged by PDP. That PDP we have now is so hollow. It's got nothing to really offer other than sycophancy and to be a rubber stamp for the whims and caprices of the ruling party in Nigeria. You know, people don't speak up about whatever is going on. I'm talking as a journalist, and I want to be objective as I should. What I see there is the fact that it's not even just PDP elements now. Of course, you see people like Kachiku, the former presidential candidate, that made no impact. He said he was awarded a 5th position in the race in 2023. All of them coming. Who is using them? Labour Party having this type of, who is using them? You will see as they will all come together, because the name of the game now is there is something on the table for everybody. The so-called national cake in Nigeria. This one is even now more than a cake. I mean, more than a piece of cake. It's
it's like a full-blown pot of jollof.
In fact, almost like what the lady that was really proclaimed Guinness World, what was it called? Guinness Book of Records.
World of Records.
Yes, that was proclaimed this morning. You know, that lady that cooked a huge pot of 20. How many is it?
I forgot. 20,000 people jollof rice.
200 bags of rice as jollof. And then about 20,000 people descended on the meal, and they said it was sumptuous. That is the kind of...
her name is Hilda Baci.
That's right. That is the kind of epic meal that is on the national table that all of them want to be part of. And I've never seen, I mean, a place like that before, where democracy quickly came to comatose, like in Nigeria. Everybody, Segun Sowunmi, he has stated where he belongs, and then he should not be playing the card of having something to say to Nigerians about why APC will not fly. Whether it will fly or not, Nigerians should give it a trial. There are other political parties there. Is it that of Omoyele Sowore and I mean, the other ones, they are there. Let everybody. If he wins fair and in a free way, in a credible way, why not? But if it's not able to make it through, I mean, if the party, the new agency is not able to make it through, you still can't fault anybody. It is the nature of democracy itself. The one we do not like is the one we do not like to see is the situation in which they put democracy on the auction block, and the people cash out, and they are trading their mandate, they are trading off their franchise. That is not too good. That's my take.
Thank you so much. I mean, we're watching. We'll be covering everything. 2027 is getting closer.
And then, as we wrap up tonight, are we really thinking of the unfolding situation in a place like Rivers State? And then, are Nigerian Democrats and Nigerian politicians committing to that desire to make sure that that kind of what's it called, unlawful, illegality, and unconstitutional situation, like having to sack an elected governor, sack elected members of House of Assembly, put in place a sole administrator. We pray that such aberration will never happen anymore. I was wondering while the outgoing I don't know. The outgoing sole administrator of Rivers State was doing Thanksgiving. People just go to the altar of God. Yes, doing Thanksgiving, ecumenical, interdenominational, whatever I called it, to God. And you know that what you have done is unrighteous. You go before a righteous God to give thanks. Would that
All
be,
right.
yeah, would that be an acceptable offering before God? God save
Hmm.
all of us.
Amen. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Thanks for hanging out with us today. A quick shout out to Adura and Natu. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. Thank you. God bless.